So success means different things. It's a relative term, right? What I consider success could be completely different than what you view success as. I know growing up, when I was a kid, I always wanted to have muscles and be big and have success was related to stature because I played sports. So I wanted to be fast, I wanted to be strong. And I had a hard time doing that. I was always super skinny. Didn't have the financial resources with the families I lived with, or even with my mom I never did. It was just a wreck. My childhood was a wreck as far as finances go. There just wasn't the food, the protein that I needed to be as big and strong as I wanted to be. And I also didn't have the information. I didn't have a mentor or material educating me on the subject. So I sought that out. I ended up, as I got older, I remember going into junior high, preparing for high school football. I bought a magazine online, or a catalog, a pamphlet. It was basically like a book that was going to teach me the fundamentals of how to put on weight and gain muscle mass. Talked about eating a lot of protein and several meals throughout the day and different things like that. Gave me some exercises and regimens that I could do. And, whatever. I think I vividly recall and remember a lot of that information. And I did it. But, the point is I was hungry enough to seek it on my own. And I went out and tried to learn what I could without a mentor. So I had to lean on other resources. Right back then, there wasn't the internet. My son asked me when I was a kid if everything was black and white, and it wasn't quite that bad, but I didn't have the internet. So, I developed, outside of high school, and moving into the real world. Then success became a financial thing for me. Right, that's what I wanted, and once again, didn't have the resources, didn't have the backing, didn't have the information, didn't have a mentor. I would have given anything for those things. So I had to seek them out on my own. What I did have was the desire and the hunger to search these things out. And I had a vision. I knew that is something I wanted. And I had a buddy take me to a network marketing company, and I just remember seeing the guy up in front talking about all this money he was making and the business and everything. And I'm the type of guy, if someone else can do it, why can't I? So I had that mentality, and I jumped into that. And although I never made money doing it, in fact, I learned what true hunger was like in that business. Traveled around for 3 years selling water filters and some other stuff. But I did learn about success principles through that experience. I went to seminars. I was surrounded by people who were successful or attempting to be successful financially and in some other areas too. A lot of success has success. If you read books like Think and Grow Rich, I was turned on to this book, Napoleon Hill. The original is called The Law of Success. And if you're not familiar with Napoleon Hill and you want to have a better life and become successful, you need to start with Napoleon Hill, like I did, and get the audio books if you don't sit down and read. But this is it truly is the Bible of success. It is a study, a 20-year case study with just all the great success people of his time, which was in the mid 1900s, on what it is that they do and how they think. It has nothing to do with money. And almost all of it has to do with principles that will lead to success, which as a result will materialize into fiscal success. But becoming successful, what happens to us as we endeavor to become millionaires or successful, whatever success means to you from a fiscal standpoint, what happens to you, what you transform into, what we transform into, what I'm transforming into, that is what it's all about. And those principles are a lot about what Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich allude to. They all say the same thing. You read Earl Nightingale, and you get into Bob Proctor and gosh, any one of them, Tony Robbins, take your pick. You know, they talk about the same principles. Some of them are more specific than others. There's a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. My stepdad turned me onto that book, and that specifically talks about taking 10% and saving into tithing and things like that. But here's the deal. Here's the point I'm trying to make. If you're miserable, if you're entering into recovery, if your life's unmanageable, if you're miserable in general, you know, there is a better way. There's a way to success and happiness. I think that's what it is. We all just want to be happy, right? So that's the rabbit hole we're trying to chase down. We're trying to find a way to be happy. And I have discovered that through principles that, you know, the 12-step program offers, as well as, you know, other spiritual principles and even financial principles and, you know, psychology principles and just general well-being information. Here's the thing. I'm hungry for it. I want it. I desperately want it. I want it incredibly bad because I know what it's like to suffer in the ignorance away from those things. And to, you know, say people will, you know, the excuses didn't matter to me. They don't help. Well, I don't have anyone that wants to help me. I don't have a mom and a dad that can blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm a poor victim of blah, whatever. None of those things matter in the real world. What matters is there is a way to find the information, and then there's a way for me to act on it. And if I'm willing to do those things, as a result, life gets better. More success is achieved. That's where I'm living. You know, I'm not a millionaire yet. I don't have a Ferrari. I'm not dating a model out of Playboy, right? And those are things that maybe for somebody, they would not consider themselves successful until they have those things. I don't need those things for success in my world. I specifically have a list of items that are imperative for me and important for me to consider myself successful. A lot of it has to do with the state of being. Financial success, financial freedom is a part of it, absolutely. But right now, I'm as successful as I've ever been in my life. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life. I have reached a level, a state of being that I've just longed for my whole life. And I'm super grateful for it. And to recap it, the way I got here is because I wanted it. I was hungry for it, and then I sought it out. I gathered the information. It's all out there. Everything's out there nowadays. It's all on YouTube. It's all on the internet. You can get anything that you want to learn about. Any book, any information, it's all available to you. Main thing is, do you want it? And then are you willing to do what it takes to get the results? One of the first things I'd recommend is a goals sheet. We do this in the Sober Living. Write down your goals. I have a template that we use. I'll put it up on my website. Anyone can have access to it. It's a daily, monthly, yearly, 10 years. You write your own eulogy out. It's very cool process. Breaks it down into spiritual, emotional, mental, physical, and financial goals. If you read Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil, it talks about what the devil likes to do with drifters, right? Compared to somebody who has a vision and is aimed at a target. You can't hit a target you don't see. But you start there. Get an idea. Think about it. What does success mean to me? What does it feel like? And then if you're willing to start doing some of the things that it takes to get there, you'll find your way. I guarantee it. That's the results I'm having. That's my experience. All right? If I can help you along the road of trudging the road of happy destiny in any way, I love doing it. It helps me as well. All right, thanks. Bye.